the research topic is not interesting to your supervisor, you will not experience good relationship with your supervisor. Because he is not interested. It is you who is interested in the thing. So you will be pushing it, but he is not interested. Because that's not his research line. Okay? So usually every supervisor has topics in which he works on. So before you choose a topic, it is better to read the publications of your potential supervisor and see what areas is he doing his research. And then you choose a topic around that area. Otherwise, the supervisor will be a passive participant in the process. Sometimes you will send him material, he will not read. Because he will tell you that anytime I start reading your material, I fall asleep. Because it doesn't engage his mind or stimulate his mind. Number 3, a good research problem is well defined, and the research questions and objectives that flow from it are specific and possible to address through a rigorous research design. So we are saying that a good research topic has clarity. When you read it, you can tell what the agenda is. A research topic should not be directionless. Because you are not writing a story. The title of what? That's the title. This research problem and literature review. Okay, defining the research problem and literature review. Okay? So we say that research topic is not like a story. So usually it's on few cases that you have research topics being sensational. Okay, because sometimes some people will embellish topic. So Arthur Kennedy will write, chasing the elephant into the bush. Okay, so that is cast in the light of a story, but a typical research topic will not follow that kind of sensational headlines. Okay, so you often say the effect of this on that, the impact of this on that, analyzing A and B, analyzing A, B, C, D. Very factual, straight to the point. Okay? And then, if you pick the research topic, it is possible to carve out research objectives and research questions. And those research questions and objectives will naturally flow from the research topic. In other words, there should not be a mismatch between the research topic and research objectives and research questions. We have had situations where students have presented proposals and none of their research objectives is addressing the topic. So they are just all over the place. One thing you must do is to ensure that your research questions flow from your research topic or research problem, and the research objectives will also then flow from your research questions. Okay? So that there's a logic or a logical flow. Then we are also saying that the research topic, or the number 3, has many elements. We are also saying that the research topic should be capable of being modeled into a research design. And I think the next topic Monday will be research design. Yes, if I'm not mistaken. So look at research design so that it should be possible to produce a research design which is at the realm of methodology to fit into the research topic. Then, the fourth quality of a good research topic is that the resource requirements in the research topic, namely time, finances, access to data, are well understood early in the research process. So the research topic should immediately portray the potential areas where the data can be collected. If your research topic cannot immediately give a good impression about where the data can be collected, then you know that there's a problem. Even if nobody tells you along the line, you will stop yourself because you cannot possibly get data. And I gave you an example of how I have asked my students to tell me where they could get data, and then they've not gotten back to me even as at now. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. So the research topic must be capable of being addressed using available data sources or potential data sources, so that this has to be understood early in the research process. Early in the research process, not when you have reached methodology. You are now wondering, what kind of data can I use? Where can I get the data from? No. At the onset, you search. So usually when you come out with a research topic and you start scanning the literature, if you come across related literature, go to their methodology, they will tell you where they got their data from. That is the starting point. Where they got their data from, can you also get the data from that place? If the answer is yes, then you proceed. If the answer is no, that's the end of the process. Okay. Some researchers have more access than others. Okay. Sometimes some researchers are very generous. And most published works, the email address of the corresponding author is indicated on the published paper. So you can send them an email and ask them, please, are you generous enough to share your data with me? I'm doing a work related to that data. Would you please be willing? A number of researchers will share their data with you. Others will not even respond to your email. They will pretend that you don't exist. But please move on. It's part of life. Okay? It's part of life. Because some look at how they have suffered to get the data, and you just want to use email to get the data. Others will send you the data, and they will even add the codes that they use to run the resource, and they will even add you the resource, the raw form of the resource, so that you can replicate their resource and learn from it and build your own resource. Okay. Then the other quality is that the research is expected to make a contribution to knowledge independently of the orientation of the findings. We are saying that a good research topic fills a research gap. That's basically what we are saying. A good research topic is not merely a repetition of what has been done, but a good research topic on its own contributes to knowledge, or it may contribute to understanding theory, or it may contribute to practice, or it may contribute to methods. So if these are met, then you can say that you have good research topic. The question now is, how do I identify research topic, or how do I get research ideas? How do I get, yes.
You did mention that we understood that the research topic is have an objective question, and then the problem is solved. So, by we also mention that some supervisors, your research topic can reduce their interest in their practice. In a situation where because they have their area, is it possible that there is a topic that you take because you have the ability to draw the data that will run this effectively? Is it possible that you can take a topic based on the person's area of study, and then you will also battle with it, and you will not be able to function efficiently?
Of course, the supervisor will usually not impose a topic on you.
So that will become a limitation itself.
Of course, of course. So if you go to any university, go to the websites of the lecturers, they will tell you that these are my interest areas. So if your interest area doesn't fall in line, then you have to go to a different university where you have a lecturer whose interest area matches with your area. Yes. Because if their interest area is not in line with your interest area, then they also don't have the capacity to supervise you in that regard. That's how it goes. Okay, so if my interest area is not in marketing, it means that I don't even read marketing literature. Then you are coming to me to supervise a marketing topic. I would only be pretending to be supervising you. Okay, in such situations, you would find that the entire work rests on the shoulders of the student. So anything you bring, you say, okay, it's okay, proceed. You bring, you say, okay, proceed. And then in the end, you are presenting the work before experts, and there are problems with it. So that one, yes, it poses a limitation, which for me is a good limitation. Yes.
But that it positively affects students.
What?
Positively.
The student has to go to a university where he can always find a place where the right supervisor for the topic is available.
If we are looking at the purpose,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That even with the same school, like the business school, we have different interests. So sometimes you may have to be reassigned a supervisor. But before entry or going to pick, and mostly in advanced countries, even before they admit you, you must first identify a supervisor. See, so if you don't get supervisor, you will not get admission. That's how it works. So you run around, and in the end, we have a lot of students, especially from developing countries, who don't go to advanced country universities because they can't find supervisors. Because you have to write to the supervisor and introduce yourself. And then after introducing yourself, the supervisor will tell you, okay, submit a proposal. You submit the proposal, he will tell you that it's not of interest to me. So I'm not giving you admission. I even had one of my former students who is in the UK. Even initially, the supervisor agreed that he should submit the proposal. When he submitted the proposal, the supervisor now said that he's no longer interested in that topic. So they didn't give him admission. I was one of those who wrote recommendation letters for him, but the supervisor said, I'm not interested. I appreciate your interest, but I am not interested. So that's how it works. Yes. That's why, as much as possible, especially for now, we are very particular about PhD supervision. PhD supervision. Even the University of Ghana, if you don't have a supervisor, they will never give you admission. So by the time you enter, you already have a supervisor. Other places where, and I will not mention names of specific universities, where they just open it up, students have stayed on the program for up to 2 or 3 years without being allocated any supervisor. Because they have admitted them in the first year is coursework. So it looks like nothing is at stake. So they would pick many of them, collect their fees. Second year, we'll give you supervisors. Third year, we'll give you supervisors. But in the end, no supervisors. We have some people like that who applied. They were in the third year of their program in one of those universities. They applied here for their PhD. Unfortunately, during the interview, they couldn't pass. Okay? They wanted to cross over and start the program, but during the interview, they couldn't pass. Okay? So if you open it up, there's the risk that you may not find supervisors. So it's better to ensure that you provide supervisors before you admit. Because you can imagine one supervisor supervising over 20 or 30 students. How are you going to read their thesis? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. So those challenges are there. And imagine you have some of the students working on topics that you are not interested. It's even worse. Okay. So how do you identify research ideas and research questions and research topics? Number one, you can talk with experienced researchers. Talk with your supervisor. Talk with your lecturers. Talk with business executives. Talk with policy makers to find out the issues that they are battling with. Your supervisor has been in the research business for years. So he can easily tell you that within the field, these are the topical areas that are leading discussions. So I would want you to read around this area and come out with a topic. Okay. So that shortens your journey towards searching for a research topic. So you can talk with them, just have a discussion with them. Then another way of identifying research ideas is to examine published research in your field of interest. And here we're talking about academic journals. Academic journals. Academic journals are standard literature for disseminating knowledge in a particular field of endeavor. So if you want to identify research topics, read journal articles in your area. You are doing finance, journal articles in finance. You are doing accounting, there are journal articles in accounting, HR, procurement, and so leadership, and so on and so forth. And most of the times, researchers usually spend the last paragraph or the last 2 paragraphs of the research under the conclusion to propose future research topics. So sometimes when you pick an article, one of the places you can quickly read is to go to the last 2 paragraphs or the last paragraph. You would identify new research topics that have been proposed. And that helps because you would not have to struggle to justify the topic. You only need to quote the person, that this person, having looked at ABC, has said that there is a research gap in this area. So that's the gap that I want to pursue. So that makes your work very easy. Because one of the things you struggle to defend will be, how did you come by the gap? They'll ask you that question. How did you identify the gap? What shows that it's a gap? You have to speak at length to justify it. You can also look at past project works. Past project works, dissertations that are in the library or online. You can look at them the same way. Usually the last part of the thesis, the students are encouraged to propose future research directions so that those other researchers who are coming can take them up and address those gaps. Another way you can identify research topics and then research ideas is to attend seminars, conferences, and workshops. At seminars, conferences, and workshops, you will get the latest knowledge in the field or on a particular topic. And researchers will present their findings, and those findings will be thoroughly debated. They will be critiqued. And those researchers themselves will indicate areas that future researchers should explore. So it is good to attend seminars, it's good to attend conferences, and it's good to attend workshops. So usually in academia, it then becomes a requirement for especially the promotion process. I'm required to attend and present my work at conferences, okay, so that I will meet my colleagues. Okay, how do I know my colleagues in Legon, KNUST, UCC? Unless there's a conference of finance experts. So you meet there, it's expert versus expert. So that when you present something, they can critique it. But not that you are the expert, you now go and gather people who don't know much about the topic, and then you just be jumping around and confusing them. No. Meet your co-equals, present the work to them, then they will give you valuable input. Okay, so usually we welcome such valuable inputs because they tend to improve upon your thesis or upon your research work. It's very good to attend seminars and conferences. And usually for our PhD students, we encourage them to present their work in conferences and seminars, because usually it is a plus to the student during the examination process. So if an external examiner knows that your work has been presented at conferences, then they are confident that you have received valuable inputs already. So there is some amount of quality associated with your work. So they don't need to stretch you very much. Okay? But if they realize that no conferences, you have not even published anything from it, they will stretch you. And if the person doesn't take time, they will fail. Because it's like you are just a local champion. Only you and your work and your supervisor. You have not engaged the scholarly world with your mind and with your work. The other avenue for identifying research topic and ideas is to respond to calls for papers and proposals. So mostly journals will issue calls for proposals, usually on given topics, or they publish what we call special issue. Okay. So for instance, when COVID-19 came, a lot of journals had issues on COVID-19. So they will say that in the issue we publish in October, the title of the issue is going to be COVID-19 and economic growth. and then they list subtopics, so that once you see the topic and then the subtopics, the topic and the subtopics are all research topics that you can use to do your research. Okay, so they present ready-made research topic for the researcher, or call for proposals. Some funding organization has asked that people should submit proposals for a funded research. So they will give you topic and subtopics, so that those topics and subtopics already identify research gaps and good research topics for you. So you just need to feed yourself into it. And hooray, that's it. Then observation. Sometimes the researcher can identify the research topic by mere observation of the environment. So you have looked around, there's a lot of erosion going on. You have looked around, there's a lot of littering. You've looked around, there's a lot of careless riding and driving in town. All these are real life problems that you have observed. Or at your workplace, you have identified that customers are no longer patronizing a particular service, or a particular machine is no longer serving its purpose, and so on and so forth. So that can give rise to the need to conduct research. So you can get research topic or research idea by observation, or you can get research idea by attending conferences, can get research ideas by talking to experienced supervisors. You can get research by also examining research topic by also examining published works, i.e. journals, and in some cases books. Okay. And sometimes it's even through assignments. They can just give you an assignment to do, and through the assignment, you identify research topics. So that can happen. Examples of research topics in management. So this person will say an investigation into the level of organizational commitment among employees. So levels of organizational commitment among employees. So that is somebody's research topic. Okay? A study of the research of the antecedents of service quality proposed by prior researchers and how they manifest themselves in the company. Okay? Measuring the various dimensions of service quality and the service quality gaps. It can be somebody's research topic. So what are acceptable research questions? And for that matter, research objectives or research topics. When we say that research questions or topics are ranked at levels, if a research question is easy to answer, then there's no need to go to do research for that topic. Okay. There's no need. Okay. So for instance, what is the average term of employment of staff? What is the average term of employment of staff? This is easy. Okay. That's why you can just look into the database and calculate the average. You add all the terms and divide by the number of people. That's all. You don't need research for that. While both, then the other alternative will be, what are the sick leave statistics for the company? So while both of the above questions may be relevant to an investigation into organizational commitment, they are not specific enough. Okay? So they lack specificity. So we can craft, for instance, those research questions in a better way as follows. So the second one, we can say, to what extent does organizational commitment correlate with incidence of sick leave? To what extent? So you are dealing with relationships now. So you are not just interested in the average statistics in terms of sick leave, but you are looking at how sick leave correlates with organizational commitment. Okay? Because if the organizational commitment is low, people will pretend to be sick. Meanwhile, they are not sick. So they will take sick leave and go and be chilling. Okay? So you will find a sick person in the islands enjoying. That's the other one have been crafted as does length of service influence. Of course, you can add more to it. Does length of service influence the relationship in any way? So combining the two, whether the length of service has an influence on what? The sick leave, and then also organizational what? Commitment. So in this case, you see that there's work to do. Okay? In the first one, there's no work to be done. The work to be done is too light to be regarded as research. Basically speaking, a research topic must make you sweat. You have to sweat. Otherwise, it's not research. It must make you to work, okay? To work the mind. Okay? It must be mentally stimulating and engaging. You can further use these questions to screen your research topic, to know whether your research topic is good or not. So the questions are grouped around feasibility or capability. Okay? Then the second is grouped around appropriateness. In other words, is it worth it? First, is it feasible? Second, is it worth it? So these questions will help you to address that. So in terms of the capability, which addresses feasibility dimensions, is the topic something with which you are really fascinated? Remember, we said it should what? Arouse your interest. Okay? Do you have, or can you develop within the project time frame the necessary research skills to undertake the topic? Because sometimes you may develop a research topic with the hope that you will receive training to be able to do it. So for instance, you can develop a research topic, and the research topic requires you to use a particular model. You have never used that model before. So what do? You come out with a research topic with the hope that you can go through training and be able to use that model. So ask yourself, within the time frame, are you able to build your capacity to be able to conduct the research? Some people start the research with the mind that when it gets to this stage, I'm going to get somebody who will do the analysis for me, and then I will proceed. That leads to problems most often, because these thesis contractors, over the years, what we have realized is that they will go to the internet and download, for instance, a thesis done in Nigeria. And then they just change something where they say Sokoto, they will say Tamil. Okay. Where is Nigeria, they will say Ghana. That's all. And then they will sell it to you. You will you will not be aware of what has happened. You present it to the school, and then the school will catch you. That this work that you are presenting, somebody did it in Nigeria. And it will show on the internet and the link to that paper. So the person accessing it can actually download that particular material that the thesis contractor has used and has transformed into your own. So it is good to train yourself to do the research work, okay, rather than pass it on to somebody. Because if you let somebody do the thing for you, if it comes to a point that you yourself, you are the one assigned to teach students that thing, how are you going to teach them? That will be a problem. That's the thing. You see, you can't teach them. So we usually advise that even though it may be difficult, but just try. Just try so that you yourself will know how to do it yourself. Is the research topic achievable within the available time? Will the project still be current when you finish your project? Because sometimes some research work is time sensitive. Once the time is passed and you come out with the topic, with the findings, nobody will be interested in it. So, of course, we conducted some research that was funded by AERC, and it was on COVID-19. We were supposed to simulate the effect of COVID-19 on poverty in Ghana. And the paper was supposed to be published in a journal, apart from being published as a working paper. They published it as a working paper, all right. But the next step was to publish it in a journal. I've made follow-ups for them to speed up the publication processes, and it's not yielding much results. And COVID too is time sensitive. And actually, the recommendations we made at that time, they cannot work again because the government has struggled to go through that. So you can't bring it, they have passed that stage. Okay. So sometimes time is important, and you have to take that into consideration. Is the research topic achievable within the financial resources that are likely to be available? So financing. Are you reasonably certain of being able to gain access to data you are likely to require for this topic? So data availability. Then appropriateness. Does the topic fit the specifications and meet the standards set by the examining institution? So does the topic meet the requirements? We have a manual and a guideline for writing thesis and dissertation. We'll share that with you along the line. Ensure that your topic meets that standard. Okay? Give you the approaches to use. Ensure that the topic is in line. Does your research topic contain issues that have a clear link to theory? Remember, we said a good research topic is what? Grounded on what? Theory. Okay? Are you able to state your research questions and objectives clearly? Will your proposed research be able to provide fresh insights into the topic? Does your research topic relate clearly to the idea you have been given, say by the sponsor? Are the findings for this research topic likely to be symmetrical, that is, of similar value, whatever the outcome? Okay? Whether you found the outcome to be negative or positive, will it be of similar value? Does the research topic match your career goals? Okay. So when you are also coming out, so you see that there are a lot of conflicts. You have your career goals. Your supervisor has his interests. So you have to find a way of aligning them, which is a very difficult, back to your question, a very difficult terrain to navigate, because it must contribute to your professional progression. Okay? If it cannot contribute to your progression, then there's a problem somewhere. So any question on research topic? Yes.
For instance, if you cite an example where you have done research and the funders are now giving the goal that now you have to establish for your payment. For example, who bears the cost of the publication?
Yes. It depends on the terms of the contract. There are some sponsors who bear the cost. So they will actually give you money for that. There are other sponsors, they will not give you the money for publishing the paper. Then also from the end of the publishers of the journal, there are some journals, they are free to publish. Okay, so they are free. So you have to identify them if you don't have money, so that you submit to them. If the paper is of good quality, they will publish it. There are also some journals you pay, and in fact, very hefty amounts, because most of them are in foreign countries, so you have to pay in dollars. So that one, sometimes you pay through your nose. There are some journals, they are free to publish, but then the users will pay if they want to download the paper. If you want the users to download the paper for free, then you pay for what we call open access. And that one is very expensive. Sometimes it may even run up to $3,000 or more. That will be paid by the researcher or the sponsor before the research becomes what we call open access, so that anybody who wants the paper can download it. Okay. Most of those that publish, the unfortunate thing is that researchers basically get nothing for publishing from the papers that they publish. Because once you publish, sometimes they will even publish your work. You are looking for a copy of that work yourself. You have to pay for it. Yes. At other times, they will give you your copy and warn you not to upload it or share it with anybody, because it's a business for them. Okay, so researchers, we go through a lot. Okay, we go through a lot.
You're the one that finished the work.
You say?
You are the one that finished the work.
Yes, you are the one who did it. But you can't publish it. You can't host it on the internet. You can't publish it. If you publish it, it will be of no value, because it hasn't gone through peer review. The publishers ensure that it goes through peer review. Your peers will review it and make inputs. Then it becomes a valid paper. If I write a paper and I go and upload it on Facebook, it's useless. It's just an opinion. But if I want it to be regarded as a scholarly work, it has to go through standard peer review publication procedure. Yes. Yes. Is a guide. A guide. You have to justify. You have to justify. There are some topics that are up to 20 or 25. Sometimes reviewers will raise questions about it. Other times they will let it go because they have seen that there's no other way of reducing the words such that it will still make meaning. If it is not possible to reduce the number of words without distorting the meaning of the topic, you can exceed 15 words. Yes.
I want to refer to the existing knowledge and existing knowledge. It means that one is not having the research is conducted, the research can be conducted like this person. Let's say, for instance, maybe there's a research conducted on this importance of
Muda, your thing is loud. Yes.
maybe we have, let's say an example, there's a research conducted on the importance of information technology in the bank, in banking.
Mm-hmm.
Then the researcher, I just give you an example. The researcher finishes and goes ahead to say that maybe the next step we want to find out what are the challenges or the limitations. So if we pick a topic like that, will it be is it a gap to it?
I don't understand what you are saying.
What I'm trying to say is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to. You have conducted a study on the importance of the information technology in banking. That's the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've finished your outcome. Then your conclusion. You stated that stating possible research that can be conducted on limitation of or challenges of information technology in banking.
And are you saying that by this, because there is you have to certify yourself that or satisfy yourself that research work has not looked at the challenges before you make such recommendation? So your recommendation must be based on fact, not speculation. Yes. Now, literature review. I've mentioned previously that literature review is very, very important in the research process, and that you can conduct literature review at least at 3 levels: at the conceptual level, at the empirical level, and at the what? Theoretical level. So you can review conceptual literature to get understanding of the concepts that underlie the research. Number 2, you can conduct theoretical review to understand the theories that explain the phenomenon under discussion. Number 3, you can conduct empirical review to understand what previous researchers have done, what they have done well, what they have not done well, so that you can indicate what you are doing well, which has not been done well by the previous research you have reviewed. Okay? Literature review is important because it helps to develop and expand your research ideas. They even help you to reshape the topic if necessary. Because sometimes you've come out with a topic, but the topic does not look strong, but you are not able to tell. But as you review the literature, you will see that some areas that you thought were not done actually have been done. So you begin shifting the topic towards areas that have not been addressed by what? The existing literature. Okay? So literature review is very important in giving the research work direction and proposing ideas that can solidify your research problem. Then it helps you to become familiar with recent developments and have a complete understanding of relevant topics. Okay? So the literature review basically baptizes you with knowledge in the area. Okay? If you have a topic and you have not yet reviewed literature, then you don't know much about the research area. So one of the things we require is that once you develop the topic, read into the literature very well so that you ground yourself with sufficient knowledge about what pertains in the literature. So that when your supervisor asks you, how did you come by the topic? What are the leading theories in the topic? Who are the top authors that you have come across on this topic? It should be easy for you. You should not, your speech has ceased. Why? Because you have not read the literature. Okay? The last Viva that I attended as an examiner to a PhD thesis, I asked the student, can you name some key authors that you learned from? He couldn't answer me. He couldn't. I was shocked because the thesis is like this, which he has read several times, purportedly, but he cannot tell the names of the kingmakers. Every topic has its kingmakers. Okay? There are some leading scholars. If you do the presentation and you don't mention their names, we know that you have not read. Okay? So when you pick a topic, find out who are the kingmakers around that topic. Who are the leading thinkers in that area so that you can espouse their ideas. That lends credence and credibility to your presentation. Because in the end, you are an emerging scholar with very small reputation. But there are scholars in the discipline who have very good reputation to ride on their backs and also climb. But if they ask you about those kingmakers and you cannot mention even one, then it's a problem. Because at that point, we're very disappointed. Because this is somebody who has presented a thesis, and one of the examiners failed the person, so he had to do it again, and now come and make a presentation. And still at the presentation, you cannot mention at least one key author that has driven your entire work. That's a very big problem. What is literature review? Almost everything you need to know about literature review is captured here. So after this slide, we can close and go. The definition of literature review is there. The uses of literature review is captured. How to conduct literature review is captured. Almost anything that you want to know about literature review is captured here. So let's define literature review using this diagram. If we want to define literature review, we just need to take the extreme left and go down. If you read it, it will tell you what literature review is about. Okay? So we say that literature review consists of, what word is there? Of your via process, which includes identifying the keywords used for searching the literature, also existing literature, followed by evaluating what? Search results, all the while documenting your findings to create an integrated analysis of what is already known about your topic. That's literature review. Okay? So that's the definition of literature review. So it is a systematic process. It's not ad hoc. It's systematic process. And literature review, some people think that is so easy. That's the easiest part of the thesis. Of course, it should be, but it is involving. You can review literature, but the entire review ends up being regarded as chaff. Because your source of literature materials is very, very important. So usually, we do not just advise you when you have a research work to do, then you just go on Google and then you search any paper that comes up, you download and start reviewing. No. In the academic circles, there are literature that are deemed to be of high quality, and for that matter, should be consulted in the literature review process. So generally, the preference is for the literature review to use standard published journal articles. So the literature with the highest quality is literature published in standard journal articles, not books. Please take note. In the academic realms, journal articles are ranked higher than books, than especially textbooks. Because journal articles go through rigorous quality checks. There are independent reviewers. So if I submit my work to a journal, they can send it to somebody at the University of Oxford to pass an opinion or a judgment as to whether my paper is good enough and meets the standards in our discipline before he would say, yes, you can go ahead and publish the work. So because of this, journal articles are deemed to be of what? High quality, and indeed the highest quality. And added to this, not all journals are journals. Some are more journals than others. So usually journal articles are ranked. They are ranked on the basis of quality. So we have journal articles that are A+, that are A, some that are B+, some that are B, some that are C, C+, in that order. Or we say 4-star, 4-star journal, 2-star journal, 3-star journal, and in that order, 1-star journal. No. If you are searching for information, it is usually good to have guidance from the library. Okay? Library. But I'll give you some ideas as to where to search for quality information. Even in Google, use Google Scholar, not Google. Google Scholar is where scholarly articles will appear. But if you just search general Google, any material, if including those published by school dropouts, they may even be the first to emerge. And you will start running with them. Okay, so please. Then, even with journals, once again, I'll come back to the sources. Once again, there are some journals, we call them predatory journals, in the sense that these journals have no regard for quality. Their interest is money. So when you submit a work to them, they will not do any peer review. They will just say that your work has been accepted. Kindly pay $100 and we'll publish it for you. So all they are interested in is their what? Money. So you will find that when they publish your work, as you grow as a scholar, you realize that you would not even want, you would have wished that your name is removed from the paper. Because the kind of errors that are in there, you are ashamed of it. Okay? So run away from those journals that are interested in money, but not in quality. Okay? So you can look for quality journals by searching in the databases that are manned by renowned publishers. Some of them are Springer, Springer, Routledge. You've been hearing about Routledge, Sage, Taylor and Francis, Emerald Insight, EBSCOhost, Elsevier. There are also databases that rank journals as well, including Scopus. Scopus. So SCOPUS. So usually, when I give my assignment, I tell my students that your paper should be Scopus index. In other words, the paper you are going to use to do my assignment, when I type the title of the paper in Scopus, the paper must come out. If the paper does not exist in the database, it is assumed that that paper is of low quality, no matter who writes it. Okay, so we give those quality parameters. A number of these sources that I have mentioned to you, if you go to the UDS library, they have access to them. Along the line, you can get registered with the library and you can have off-campus access. In other words, wherever you are, you can log on to the library system. The university has subscribed to a number of
Hello. I can't hear Prof.
Of the literature, and that is related to concepts, theory, and then methods. Okay, and you identify the keywords and search the existing literature by using our previous studies. And the previous studies can be conceptual literature, they can be empirical literature, they can also be very old, and most of the very old literature are theory-based literature. The literature review would also help you to establish your theory. Okay? The literature review can help you to clarify the relevance of your research, can also help you to improve upon quality, and also to identify research gaps. Okay? And in terms of literature review as well, referencing and citation is very important. Now, when you pick my work and you are reviewing literature on it, along the line, you have to refer to me. So you can say that according to Ishaku 2022, so and so and so and so and so and so should happen when this happens. So that's what we call citation. Then after the end of the work, you have what we call the references. You now have to cite the complete paper that you cited. In the work itself, you say Ishaku 2020, but that is what we call citation. But in the references, you now say Ishaku 2020, and then the title of the paper, then the journal in which it is published, the volume of the journal, the pages that we can find this particular paper that is published. That's what we call referencing. So you must learn about referencing and what? Citation when you are doing literature review. Then avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is a situation where, number one, you use somebody's work and present it as if that is your original idea. In other words, you have not made any reference to the person. You just lift it from the internet, from the document that the person has prepared. You have not acknowledged that I lifted it from this source. So people assume that you are the brain behind that work. That's plagiarism. Also, you have lifted the work, all right, and you have mentioned that this is the person who has done it. But then you have not paraphrased what they said. You just lifted it word for word. It's also plagiarism. Then again, this time around, you have picked the word or the work from the internet or from the source, you have paraphrased it. But the way you have paraphrased it, it now looks like your own work. And you have failed to acknowledge that you got it from what? A particular source. That one too is plagiarism. So be careful about plagiarism, so that if a work doesn't belong to you, please acknowledge. It helps your integrity. And especially these days, when anybody can just subject your work to scrutiny. You can even graduate and they will bring you back if an issue is raised about your work. Because somebody somewhere, or one day, so I just decided to let sleeping dogs lie. I just was looking through the internet and I found that one of my papers, somebody just copied copiously and also published under his name. The person is a lecturer in one of the polytechnics. I wanted to report it to the institution. But I look at it, this is a poor lecturer. He has wife, he has children. If I bring this issue up and they sack him, will I be able to sleep well? I said, okay, let me let sleeping dogs lie. I don't have that energy. Okay, maybe I should have taken it aback. But sometimes it's not easy. Yeah, the right thing should be done, but you are also looking at humanity. Yes.
In this case, how do we tell who is the first one?
You can tell by the chronology. My work was published several years. So we can go to the journal sources. The year of publication is indicated in every paper. The year, sometimes the month, and sometimes even the day. So we can tell. Okay. And I can tell you that if you ask him to go and bring data, he can't bring. Okay. So that one is easy to tell. Very, very easy to tell. One of the polytechnics, again, it happened to somebody. So the person wrote to the university. And I think they suspended the lecturer without salary for about 3 months. Yes, so he teach without salary for 3 months so that he will learn how to be ethical. So this is something that comes up every day. Every day. So you have to be very careful. Sometimes you can do it, you will not be caught today. But later on, much of it that has happened in Germany has to do with several years later. The person is a minister. As a minister, you step on so many toes. So you just step on somebody's toe and they will go to the internet, download your thesis. They will take it in to turn it in. And then they will see that, wow, I've got this man. So they will write to your institution and present the evidence that this is what has happened. And then that can lead to one of the universities in the UK, that's what happened. One of the vice presidents had to resign. Vice presidents of the university had to resign because she was engaged in advocacy work, trying to promote the rights of Black people. And you know, these wives, they don't joke with their thing. So they timed her very well and went through all the papers that she has written. And they found cases of plagiarism in her work. And for that matter, they wrote to the university that she lacks integrity. For that matter, is not fit to even occupy the position, not to talk about advocating for the rights of Black people. So that's it.
Those are articles like that. Going forward, like 5, 10, go back and review your own and now make the appropriate references.
Yes, you
So
can
that
make
the
references.
error corrects the errors you have done.
No, I can't correct it.
Can't correct.
No, you can't correct. You can't correct. You can only confess. Okay, once it has happened, you now confess. I'm sorry. Yes, during my undergraduate, I used so and so literature, but I couldn't acknowledge. So forgive me. But in this world, if you do that, it will put you into trouble because they won't forgive you. They will not forgive you. So usually, we also have, I forgot to mention, we also have self-plagiarism. You have written something 2 years ago. Then you are writing another paper. What you wrote 2 years ago is relevant to what you are writing. Then you go and copy what you wrote and come and put in the current paper that you are writing. You are copying yourself. So it's also a problem, self-plagiarism. So when you want to use your own work, you have to cite yourself. You will not say according to yourself, but you will just according to, then you mention the paper. You refer to the paper that you had published. So in an earlier published work, so and so wrote blah, 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 blah. That's your own work you are referring to. Otherwise, that one too can put you into trouble. But we also usually say that limit self-citation, because in the end, it's like you are glorifying yourself. Are you the only scholar in that discipline? So also reduce the amount of times that you refer to yourself in your own work. Okay? Otherwise, it doesn't speak well of you. Like you are saying that you are the only person who has knowledge in that area. So you should be the one that the whole work should be looking at, so far as that particular area is concerned. So, yes, please. Yes. Yes. So if you use somebody's work, word for word or verbatim, in other words, you just copy it from the context and lift it onto your work without changing the parts of speech, figures of speech, or whatever, then you have to put quotation marks. That's quotation. So verbatim, lifting of somebody's ideas into your work. It is acceptable that you put that portion in what? Quotation mark. And indicate the specific page number that that quotation is coming from in the original work. So that if anybody wants to read further and also to confirm that you are actually lifting verbatim, they can go to the exact page and have a look at it. In the case of paraphrasing, you don't lift verbatim, but you change the sentences to suit your own understanding. So usually to do that, you read it and ask yourself, what is my understanding of what I have read? Can I put it in my own words? So that becomes a paraphrasing. And when you have put it in your own words, still acknowledge, because what you have put in your own words are ideas that should be attributed to somebody. Make sure that you don't leave that somebody out. Otherwise, that has often caused a lot of conflict, accusations, and counter-accusations among scholars. And we see that a lot even in the music industry. Somebody just won over 300 and something thousand. The person sued, I think, CAF, yes, over copyright issues and got some monies. Okay, so if you use somebody's work without their permission and without acknowledging, they can sue you for damages, for compensation. And sometimes the fines can be very huge, that a mere researcher cannot afford that. So it is good to be ethical. Otherwise, if you are sued, sometimes also it may be a figure like this. So you see that I have indicated the source. I got this from Facebook, but the source was not what indicated. So I said that source, unknown Facebook source. So you can't come and attack me and say that I've stolen your idea. Okay? So it's good to acknowledge that this is what I'm, and you can see from this that the slides are built based on chapter 4 of this particular book. So that's why I've left it there. Okay, so I'm not going to remove it. And then if I remove it, then it means that I'm the one who prepared it. You understand that? I'm the one who prepared it and I'm presenting it. And if these people get this material with my name on it, without referencing them, they can come after me. I don't have money. Please.
Hello, Prof.
Always do the right thing. Give honor to whom honor is what? Due. And other people will give you the same honor. Yes.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, the laws, the general laws, yes.
Are they not aware of?
You are asking about, you are asking why do people steal when they know that if they are caught, they will go to jail. That has been a societal problem. Yeah, people are willing to take the risk. So it's about risk taking. Because there is the high likelihood that they will not be caught. They think that the likelihood that they will be caught is slim. So they will take their chances.
Hello, Prof.
Oh, no, they can't do that. They can't do that. You are an adult. Okay, so you are responsible for your actions. Yeah.
When, what is the value? Is the value in differences? When you try to make it your own work, and then when you acknowledge that someone's work that you have hardly taken, I mean, what is the value in this?
No, it's about credit attribution. If you pass it on, you are saying that you are the one who has developed it. So all credit that has to be given to somebody who put up that work is you. So that's how it works. And if you acknowledge, it means that we should not give you credit for that particular statement, but the person that you have acknowledged, yes. But it doesn't change the value much unless it is literature review. Or if it's literature review, what are you doing there with your own opinion when you are supposed to be referring to other scholars? Then they will say that you are just running around. Okay, in a full.
I'm looking at it. If that is the case, then people will not have business taking work that professional.
They have business. Because taking work, when you start research, you see that one of the problems you face is how to paraphrase. Because the words are so technical and they flow so logically that if you want to paraphrase, if you don't take time, the meaning will be lost. And you are also submitting the assignment within a very tight deadline. And this is what we have realized: when the deadline is too tight, or if the student waits, they start working on the assignment the day before the deadline. They have no time to read through to paraphrase. So that one, the incentive is there. Both. Yes, both. Both the staff substance and the form. Yes. 2 stages of literature review. The first stage is that you review the literature to identify themes, trends, and relationships. Let's proceed. We are far behind time. Okay? And I have to finish the topic. Okay? So the more we try to interject, the more we may extend it to 11, which I wouldn't want. Okay? But you can ask so that we can proceed. Yes. No. We usually have pages, page limits. This is dissertation. The guideline will tell you don't exceed this number of pages. Okay. We have page limits. Okay. It will differ from MSc to MPhil and then to what? PhD. Okay. Because the chapter requirements are not the same. Then the second stage of your literature review will be more extensive, so that here you identify past literature, and then you also discover the theory and explain more about theory. But I told you that I'll prefer 3 segmentation: conceptual review, theoretical review, and then what? Empirical review. How do you conduct literature review? First, clarify research questions and objectives. Because in the end, the easiest way to ensure that your literature review is relevant is to convert your research questions or objectives to subtopics, especially when it comes to the empirical review. The first research objective becomes a topic for your review. The second research objective also becomes a topic in that manner. This will ensure that you review literature covering all your key areas. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you may end up reviewing literature which does not address any of your research questions. The next step is to locate and evaluate sources of information. And I've talked to you that get the information from what? The right source. Start collecting the literature. So this may involve downloading from the internet or collecting from the library or other sources the literature or journal articles you would need. Review and make record of the information. So sometimes you do the initial reading. Usually when I'm going to review, I download all the papers I need. Then I start reading them. Once I read them, I highlight the portions I will need that are relevant to my topic. I highlight them. So on that day, my computer screen will be filled with so many papers. Sometimes if you don't take time, it will get to a point that depending on the strength of the computer, it will not be responding again. But you can also restart. So if you restart, you will lose the trend. So sometimes you are just patient and going through one after the other. So when I do the initial screening, which can take about 1 to 2 hours, I then now sit down and then organize the literature. So I now say that, okay, this idea that I have to write, I saw it in this paper. So I go and pick it, and then I come and then paraphrase, and then I reference. I hardly use quotations, because if there are too many quotations in your work, it's not also good, because it will mean that you are lazy. Too many quotations mean that you are a lazy researcher. You don't want to spend time to paraphrase, to read people's work, to understand the work on your own. But because of that, you just copy and then put quotation marks. And no. Then it doesn't show scholarship. Okay? So as much as possible, limit quotations. So you start writing the initial review. Okay? Identify gaps in the literature, very important. Then examine your research questions and objectives again. Then collect additional literature to fill the gap, if need be. Then you prepare your final review. Okay. So usually, right now, I don't spend so much time on literature review compared to the past. In the past, sometimes I can use 3 days or 1 week. But this time, the maximum I'll use to review literature is 1 day. Okay? Because I can't why would I be doing review literature for days? Okay? Yeah, 1 day is enough for me to review once I can sit down and concentrate. But it comes with time. Okay? At the beginning, you would find problems. But as you develop the skill, it becomes easier and easier for you to. So in the end, the literature review seems to be the easiest. So right now, for most studies that I want to review, the abstract is enough. Okay? Once I read the abstract, I can tell what I need in the work. Okay? So I don't need to spend time read from introduction to conclusion, no. So that facilitates the review process. Okay, so in terms of literature research topic and the risks of the research, let's look at this 4-quadrant diagram that is illustrated here. You can have a situation where the research topic is in a new field of study. In other words, the research topic is entirely new. You've searched the literature, you have not seen any work on it. And again, the method that you can use to investigate the research is also new. So new research idea, never done before, new research method, never used before. We say that topic is going to have a higher risk of criticism and possibility of failure. It's the same as what we were using. Research problem, and then what? Literature review. So such research topic have high risk of criticism and then high possibility of failure. In other words, as much as possible, make sure that the research topic you are bringing, if it is new, use existing methodology. If you now say that you will also now create a new methodology, there's a risk that the methodology can be rejected as non-standard. And then also there's a risk that in your field, that research topic will be rejected because they've never heard about it. So there's a high risk of what? Failure. This is what happened in Harry Markovitch, who is the father of portfolio theory in finance. before his work, there was nothing like portfolio theory. So when he conducted his thesis and submitted it for a PhD in economics, it was rejected. They said that no, it was not going to be possible for them to award an economic PhD thesis for something that is not economics, because it had no relationship with Adam Smith. It had no relationship with Robinson. It had no relationship with Keynes. It has no relationship to all the kingmakers. So they said that this is your work, we can't award you, we are sorry. New topic to economics, new methodology to economics. Several years later, they eventually decided that they will give it to him. So they awarded him a PhD. And later on, he was even a Nobel laureate in economics for his publication on portfolio theory. So he's known to be the father of what? Portfolio theory. So the risk of failure is high, and the risk of criticism is high. But when you eventually succeed, you also receive an award for being outstanding. So it's a balancing act. Okay? It's a balancing act. Then you can have a research topic where you are investigating into an old field, but you are using a new methodology. So in this case, we say that it should be able to produce a satisfactory result. You are likely to be welcomed in the field. Then you can also have a research topic that is in a new field of study, but the methodology is old. So it should also produce satisfactory results. However, if you have a situation where the research topic is in an old field and the methodology is also old, that one is a no, no, no. You cannot justify it. What is your contribution? Old topic, old methodology. No contribution, zero contribution. So such work is likely to be rejected because it has no value, and for that matter, is deemed not necessary for a degree. Okay. The last part we are going to look at. Okay. Now, the literature review approach, which say that it should be in the form of a panel, where you start from the broad level and then you narrow down. So you can start from the global perspective. If your research work is on, say, financial market development, start reviewing the global literature. Come down to developing countries. Come down to Ghana. And if you are dealing with Tamale, come down to Tamale. So it's like from the broad level, then you come down in that. So we call that the funnel approach. Lastly, we want to talk about research gaps. Okay? Research gap. One of the problems that researchers face, especially young researchers, is how to identify research gap.
Hello, Prof.
If the supervisor should ask the question, what is your research gap? Then they start fumbling. Because they have not teased out the gap from the what? The literature review. So this slide presents about 7 different types of gaps that you can identify and be able to articulate in defense of your work. Okay? So if they ask you, what is your research gap? You should be able to say, for instance, my research gap is an evidence gap. Say, what is the evidence gap? I would say that in the literature, with the phenomenon that I'm discussing, which is financial development, some authors have explained that financial development promotes economic growth, while others are saying that financial development is injurious to economic growth. So there's a conflict. So one group says the effect is negative. The other group says the effect is what? Positive. So there's a gap in the evidence. And that is what I want to feel. Now, you indicate here, you need to go further to indicate that I am of the view that the gap in evidence exists because the approaches that are being used so far, these are their weaknesses. So if we address those weaknesses, that contradiction will be addressed. Okay? Otherwise, if you don't do that, then they will ask you, if the evidence is contradictory, are you not also now coming to add to the contradictory evidence? Can you settle that debate? So that's usually the problem with evidence gap. Okay? Then knowledge gap. You have seen that on a particular topic, we don't have findings on it. So this is a new topic. So you want to new knowledge. When COVID-19 came, almost all the research that was done was new knowledge. There was no disease of the nature COVID-19 in history, but you can talk about pandemics in general. Okay, so new knowledge. Okay, nobody, you can, okay, you want to look at the effect of COVID-19 on what? Poverty. It's never been, because this is a new disease. So nobody knows the effect on poverty. So that is knowledge gap. Okay? Desired research results do not exist for a particular issue. The third gap can be practical knowledge gap. If you look at practice and then theory, there's a mismatch. Okay? What the books say and what is on the ground, there's a mismatch. You can use that as a basis for advocating for a new study to be conducted such that a new gap can be established and used to explain and give new insight. You can also have methodology gap, in which case you have seen that currently researchers are using a particular methodology, and that methodology has so many weaknesses. And you think that you can propose a new methodology to address those weaknesses. So for instance, some people can be using a quantitative method to address a particular issue over the years. And you will say that the quantitative approach has not adequately addressed the nuances of that topic. So for that matter, I'm going to what? Use a qualitative approach. And these are the dimensions I would throw more light into, which would not have been captured by what? The quantitative studies. Okay? So your gap can be methodological. Then, yet again, you can have a gap that is empirical in nature, such that if you say that the research propositions or research findings need to be evaluated or empirically verified. So here, there may be some research findings already, or some suppositions that exist, but you want to subject them to data, collect data, and confirm them. So you can say so. Then we can also have a theory gap, whereby probably in the textbooks, you have come across theories, but you have seen that in practice, people are not investigating the applicability of those theories in real life. So you can say that Maslow developed the needs in the form of hierarchy. But is that what really informs people's motivations? So you want to test the existence of the theory in what? In real life. Or that you can actually even borrow a theory from another discipline. Okay, so this is a theory that exists in psychology or sociology, but you think that in your disciplinary area, there's some behavior that fits into what? That theory. So you can borrow it and say that I am the first person to borrow a theory of this nature from sociology into my discipline, say marketing. And this is the value added that I am contributing to the research process. Then lastly, you can have what we call population gap. With the population gap, the research is addressing particular locations, particular demographic groups that have been neglected over the years by the existing body of knowledge. So you've seen that in a particular area, the research work addresses women, but men are not usually captured. If you want to carry it
Hello. Hello. I can't hear anything. Oh.
power out. Representative who will speak on your behalf. If you want an issue to be addressed, you generally need a person so that they will come and say, I know you may have one or two issues, so you talk to the boss